everyone, Melissa here. Today I'm going to be doing some Easter nails. I am going to do a kind of like a bird's egg, robin egg type mani, but of course with my own little spin on it. I want to do them kind of realistic, so I'm excited and I hope that it ends up looking okay. But I'm going to be using 5 different colors for this design. I have Divinity and Peep from Dipp'd. I have Strawberry Whipped Cream from Layla Rain. And then from 10X Tina, I have Ostara and Be Mine, which are both sub bag colors. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm doing one color on each nail, just like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and dip those colors down and then we'll get into decorating them. Okay, now I have all the solid colors down. I'm going to go ahead and activate and file shape and buff these. Okay, now that we've got them nice and smooth, we are going to rough them up. So I have this is the roughest grit file that I have. So you want to find the roughest grit file that you have. And you're just going to go over the smooth surface across like that. You're kind of etching little grooves into the nail. And you'll see why. You don't want to overdo it. You just want to kind of etch lines, and I'm going from one side of the nail to the other so that the lines kind of go from side to side on the nail. Okay, so I'm just going to wipe or brush off the dust on the nail. And now we'll get into what the etching part was for. So I have this spoon here, and in it I have mixed up a brown. I've used acrylic paint, so I used black with some orange. I actually used red and yellow, but black with orange to make a brown. And then I added a lot of water to it. So it's going to be largely water and less paint. It's very watered down. Going to stir that up. And this is what we call a wash. It's just going to be like a wash of color over the nail. So I'm just going to, I'm not sure if I have enough pigment in here, but we're going to test it. So I'm just going to brush that onto the nail. And the idea is that the wash will kind of sink into those etched marks that you've made and kind of just kind of live in those lines and those crevices and trying to give kind of that antiqued, I don't know if that's the correct word for it, but kind of look that a real bird egg will have. Some of these real speckled bird eggs. And we don't want it too much on there because I don't want it to take over the color. I don't want it to make the color look too dingy or dirty. I just want to add kind of the texture in there. Okay, so that gives them kind of a rustic looking finish. with that wash on there. So I'm just gonna give that a few minutes to dry before I start going in with the next level of the design. Now I'm gonna be using the ASP White Gel Polish White Hot. And I'm gonna drop a little bit of that over here. And I'm gonna take just a little dotting tool and I'm gonna put that in there. And just do like some little dotties on here. It's not going to be consistent dots on the entire nail. It's going to be in spots because real eggs, there's no perfect pattern usually. It's just kind of wherever. And now I'm going to take my liner brush here and get just a little bit of alcohol on it. I'm going to kind of like blur these out a little so they aren't little perfect circles. Okay, I'm going to cure all of that for about 5 seconds. Now for each nail, I'm just going to kind of rub in the pigment, the powder for the corresponding color. So I'm going to start here with the yellow and just kind of like dab that on so that these aren't just stark white. They kind of look like a lighter yellow, a lighter green, a lighter blue, and so on. Okay, now we need some dark speckles on there. So I have this dark brown that I had mixed up to put into the water for the wash, and I'm going to work with that. And then I have my trusty splatter brush, toothbrush splatter brush. I know it looks dirty, but it's been washed. It just doesn't come, all the stuff doesn't come off. And I am going to get this paint that's here. I'm going to add a little bit of water to it just to thin it out a bit to give it more of an ability to splatter. Actually, I'm not sure that I have enough water here at the moment, but we'll see. Okay, so let's dip the tip of this in here and just get some on the, and hopefully it works. And that's enough. Dab off and go for the splatter. All right, that'll be fine. I'm going for a very light splatter right now anyway. Not a heavy coverage or large pieces or even consistent. So we just have like a light splatter coverage with that dark brown. And now I'm gonna come into it with some black. Just gonna put some black in here. We're gonna do a few larger pieces. It's just black acrylic paint is what I'm using now. I'm gonna use my dotting tool and just come in with some black dots here and there to really define some larger speckles in there. Okay, and that's gonna be just fine. So I'm gonna let all of that dry, and then I'm gonna do a dip of clear over each nail to really encapsulate all the layers of design that we did. And then I'll activate and file them. Okay, now I'm gonna finish these with a matte top coat. But my matte top coat process is to first start by putting on the dip top coat. So I'm gonna go ahead and activate and top coat these. Okay, once the dip top coat is fully dry, I'm gonna get a buffing block and just buff it nice and smooth. Okay, once you have those all buffed, I'm going to make sure that you brush off the dust. Make sure there's no dust on the nail that can get into the matte top coat and mess up the texture. Can get your matte top. I'm going to be using my double dipped no wipe matte top coat. I love it. And I'm just going to apply a thin layer on each of the nails. As I do that, kind of shining it in the light, making sure that it's self-leveled and that there is nothing, no dust particles, floaties, hairs, or anything. I'm gonna go ahead and cure the thumb so that it doesn't move or get messed up while I'm painting the rest of the nails. All right, just like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that with the rest. All right, and there we have it, the finished bird egg. Not technically robin's egg, but speckled nails. But I am happy. I think they turned out pretty much how I wanted them to, so I love this. As always, thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this design. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me, and you can always join my Facebook group, Melissa's Mani Hive, where we discuss nail things all the time. And I will see you April 1st for my diamond birthstone nails. Anyway, see you then.